Okay, come on, get in here. Get in here nice and close. We need to have a frank one-on-one conversation here, all right? Because I want to know truly, from your point of view, why do you love VR as much as you do? Or why do you hate VR? What is it that makes you hate it so much? Or have you not tried VR at all and you've thought about trying it, but you don't know if you should? I want to have a frank conversation about what VR, virtual reality, means to people right now. Now, I might ramble a little bit here because I'm going to be talking from my own point of view here, but I want to hear from you. I want this to be a two-way conversation here. In fact, I want it to be a multiple-way conversation. I want to have this conversation in the comments. I want to hear from each of you what your thoughts are. Obviously, I can give you my thoughts. Here's my video channel, right? But what I want to know is I want to know what you're feeling. That's the most important thing here. Because for me, virtual reality has been a life-changing experience. Now, that can sound like hyperbole. That can sound like I'm exaggerating. I mean, really, Jolly Julian, changed your life? Come on. But it has. And if for no other reason, then almost not a single day goes by that I don't spend some time with that headset strapped to my face and the rest of the world completely going away and me just having these incredible experiences that I just can't seem to get enough of. You might not have that same experience with virtual reality like I do, but that's what I want to have this conversation about, because some people adore virtual reality like I do. I have a number of friends that I've gotten into virtual reality over the last few years, and I'm really enjoying watching their journey through this process. Some of whom are loving virtual reality almost as much as I do. And they're doing it almost every day, and they're getting kind of hooked on it. And the experiences that they're having, the games that they're playing, the places they're able to go through virtual reality, and the socialization that they're having through it is really incredible to watch. And then I have other friends that, they enjoy it, but I don't think they use it every day like I do. And then I have friends that I've put in the headset, and they're just like, yeah, I don't really get it. But for the most part, most of the people that I put in a headset, they automatically right away understand the draw that virtual reality has, the pull, why it is so unique. And it's something that truly nobody can experience until they put that headset on. You can try to explain it to them. You can have them watch videos, but it's never the same thing. And you probably already know that. If you're watching this channel, you've probably already done VR. You probably love VR, or you might be hate watching this video if you tried it once and absolutely hated the experience, or worse, felt ill while you were playing it. Or you may never have tried it before and you're curious. Now, I have some questions for you, and I want you to communicate in the comments. And my goal is to respond to every comment that comes in. I want to continue this conversation. If you love VR, you're almost like me. You're doing it, you're playing it almost every day, sometimes for multiple hours a day, right? Type in the comments what you love the most. What is the single thing that you love the most about virtual reality? For me, I think, this word is thrown around a lot, and that's immersion, the immersion of it. And I know that word is used a lot, and it can sound like hyperbole. It sounds like hype. But unless you've gotten in virtual reality, you just can't understand. That is the big thing, the immersion. And that comes from so many things. The scale, the 3D of it, the fact that it's blocking out the rest of the world, the sound design, all of these things go into immersion. So using immersion as my favorite thing about virtual reality is almost a cheat, because everything about virtual reality is designed to create that sense of immersion. But what is your favorite thing? Another question I have for you, if you love VR, what is your favorite experience that you've done in virtual reality so far? That's a hard one. I was asked that question by a friend of mine the other day, and man, it was hard to pick what my favorite was. I Half-Life Alyx came up, and Walking Dead Saints and Sinners, and Lone Echo. All of those are PCVR games. But then I think about Walkabout Mini Golf, Demeo, games like that I play in virtual reality and standalone, just with my Quest 3 headset and my Quest 2 headset, which I still have as well. I love those as well. So it's really hard, but I want to know from you, what's your favorite one? If you had to pick one, what is your favorite experience, game, anything like that you've done in virtual reality since getting it? Now, I've been in virtual reality since 2017, I think, maybe 2016. My first headset was an HTC Vive Pro. Yeah, I spent a lot of money to get that thing, but when I discovered that virtual reality was a thing, that virtual reality was a real reality, I wanted the best experience I could get. And at that time, it was the Vive Pro. And I loved having that headset. I enjoyed it thoroughly until I got my Valve Index. So I've been in virtual reality a long time. I've got a lot of experiences that I've racked up, and I've enjoyed so many of them, it's really hard to pick one. Now, for those of you who don't like VR, if you hate VR, if you tried it but you don't like it, you just don't see what the hype is all about, tell me, what is it about the experience that you've had that you didn't like, or that you weren't wowed by, or you just, what did you feel when you did try virtual reality? Type that in the comments below. I want to hear from you, and I want to start the conversation. And for those of you commenting on the comments, please, I just encourage you. It's great to have disagreements and discourse, right? I want those conversations to happen if you agree or disagree with anything that anyone is saying in the comments. All I ask is just do it courteously. I mean, we can disagree without calling people names or using obscenities and things like that. I'd like it to be a conversation that we can all be a part of and discover things from, and not just yell at each other. There's no point to that. Nothing comes from that. No one has a great conversation if we're just yelling at each other and calling each other names. So just please, that's all I ask, is just be courteous, but feel free to disagree, including with me. I love it when people disagree with me. I really do. That's part of why I created this channel, because no two people feel exactly the same way about virtual reality. So if you love it, you hate it, we can all be here having these conversations together. Now, a question for you if you have not tried virtual reality yet. It's a pretty obvious question I have to ask, and that is why? What is the main reason you have not tried virtual reality yet? It could be, well, I don't really know enough about it to know whether I should try it. It could be, I just don't have access to a VR headset, or I don't have the money to put into trying a VR headset, or I've heard from some people that it makes them feel sick and queasy. And I want to comment on that a moment while you're commenting below. So go ahead and comment while I'm talking here. What is it that's kept you from trying VR? But for anyone who's worried about virtual reality not being a good experience because they've heard that people get sick playing VR. That is a thing. I'm not going to lie and say nobody gets sick playing VR. That's a hoax. It's absolutely a real thing. But there are things you can do to make sure that that does not happen to you, or at least mitigate that as much as possible. So I'm going to give a couple of quick pointers here. For those of you who are VR enthusiasts, comment below and let me know if I've missed anything here, because I know you're probably thinking, I already know this stuff. Don't skip ahead. I want you to be part of this conversation. I want you to help other people enjoy virtual reality as well. So feel free to comment if I miss anything. But a couple of things. When you get your first VR headset or try VR for the first time, get into an experience where your character is not moving in the experience. Play something that is a stationary game or a stationary experience. There are a number of those out there. Space Pirate Trainer is a great one, where you're standing in one place and you're shooting using your controllers in virtual reality. Doing something where your character is not moving in VR is one of the best ways to ensure that you do not feel ill. The next thing is to make sure that you're playing on the highest frame rate that you can. The Quest 3, Quest 3S, I think, are native to 72 hertz. You can set it up to 90 or I think 120 if you want to. That's the frames per second, basically. The higher those are, the less likely people are to get a little queasy or something, because they're getting a less stuttery experience, is basically kind of what it comes down to. The way our brain is processing the frames that are being shown to us, just like it would on a television set. Another thing to do is to, this is a big one, as soon as you start feeling even remotely uncomfortable, stop what you're doing and take the headset off. Just stop. Take your headset off, okay? That's the best thing to do. Don't try to push through it. Don't try to keep playing. Just if you start feeling weird, you get a little bit of headache, then you're feeling queasy, whatever, take it off. And then the last thing I'll say, and then I'm sure the commenters will have plenty more, but these are the top 4 that kind of came to mind. is to make sure that you've got the headsets on your head correctly, that it's comfortable as you can get it on your head, that you've got it centered on your eyes, because the lenses, especially if you have a Quest 3S, the sweet spot of those lenses is kind of in the center of the lenses. So you want to make sure you've got it centered on your face where your eyes are in the center of the lenses. With the Quest 3, the standard Quest 3, you don't have to worry about that quite as much because those pancake lenses have a really wide sweet spot. But with the Quest 2 or the Quest 3S, make sure that you've got it centered. And make sure that it's tight enough that it's not going to move around too much, but it's not so tight that it's squeezing your face, okay? So those are just a couple of things right off the bat that will help to hopefully ensure that you have a good experience the first time you try virtual reality. The other thing that I will say too is as you play more and more virtual reality, you will develop what we call our VR legs. That's like sea legs for somebody who's in the Navy or that's out on fishing boats and so forth a lot, out on the ocean. You know, they say you develop your sea legs. As you're out there longer and longer, you get less likely to get motion sickness. Well, VR is similar, except I don't think it takes quite as long as developing your sea legs to get your VR legs. So there's hope for everyone. There really is. All right, so back to the questions that I have for you. Let's go back to the people who love virtual reality, really, really love it. I want to ask you this. Because nothing is perfect. Even the things we love are not perfect. So I have to ask you this. If you could change one thing about the virtual reality landscape right now, what would that one thing be? Now, I know that's a very broad question, but type that in the comments below. What would you change? Maybe it's the state of hardware. Maybe it's I would like a wider field of view in the headsets that are available, or I would like them to be lighter or have a slimmer form factor, whatever it is. It could be the state of the experiences. Maybe you feel like there aren't enough, quote, AAA experiences out there. And what is a AAA experience? I mean, come on, we got to talk about that, right? Because, you know, the definition I think that, you know, I like the most for what a AAA experience is one where, you know, it tends to be a lengthy experience and a lot of hours, effort, money has been put into the graphics, the gameplay, the scripting, the music, the sound design, all of the things to make it a really top tier game. Half-Life Alyx comes to mind. Walking Dead Saints and Sinners comes to mind. Games that have a fairly lengthy gameplay, even Asgard's Wrath 1 on the PC VR and Asgard's Wrath 2 that is standalone in the Quest series of headsets. I think we could all agree that those are probably AAA games. But does that mean that something is not big and created by a giant group of developers, a huge team where they put millions and millions and millions of dollars into creating the experience? Does that mean it can't be a great experience as well? I would argue that it absolutely can be. It doesn't have to be a super long experience. It doesn't have to be creative. Some of the best experiences that I've seen and had have been by very small development teams, and there may be shorter experiences that didn't take all that long, but they're the ones that are the most memorable to me. So anyway, I just had to get that off my chest too. But the question again was, what's the one thing that you would change about virtual reality that would make it better for you? All right, so comment below. For those of you who do not like VR at all, you've tried it and you just did not like it, what is the one thing that could change in virtual reality that you think would get you to try it again? What is the one thing that you would like to see change that would make you want to try it again? And the answer might be, there's nothing anyone could ever do. I'm never going to try it again. And if that's the case, let me know why. Why did it poison you so much that you never would want to try it again? That's okay. If that's how you feel, I'm not going to try to change your mind there. That's okay. But I'd be curious to know, what one thing might get you to pop into a headset again. And if you've never tried virtual reality before, if you've never tried it, what is the one thing that someone would have to offer to you, potentially, for you to say, all right, I'm going to try this? I think a great example of that is we just had the Quest 3S come out recently here, just this past month. And with it, it was bundled with a game called Batman Arkham Shadow. Now, it's a Batman game in VR. I mean, I am willing to bet that got a lot of people who might be on the fence of trying VR to go, wait, I can be Batman? Well, I got to try that in virtual reality, right? And they might go purchase that $299, that $300 MetaQuest 3S headset in order to get that game bundled with it for free. It's amazing. But for you, what would be the thing that would get you to say, okay, I got to try virtual reality now, right? And for a lot of people, it might have been that Batman VR game. It might be different types of experiences. It might be the weight of the headset. I don't know, whatever it is. Let me know in the comments below. And the next thing off the top of my head that I kind of want to bring up about virtual reality is, what are the things technology-wise that you're most concerned about? Now, this is a question for all of you. Whether you love VR, hate VR, have never tried VR, what are the biggest concerns you have about virtual reality? Is it the safety of it? Is it the age? What is the proper age? Is it you're worried about what it'll do to your eyes, right? Now, I want to comment about that for a moment because that's always been a concern of mine. I'm of an age where I grew up where my parents always said, don't sit too close to the television because you'll go blind. It'll ruin your eyes, right? Any of you that are old enough to remember that. Now what we're doing is we're strapping something on our face that in essence has 2 television screens in it, albeit small, that are right up near our eyeballs. So I've had concerns. Hey, what will that potentially do? Is that going to harm my eyes? Now, I have talked to multiple eye doctors as I've had eye exams and so forth over the last 5, 6, 7 years since I started using virtual reality. I have asked them every time, multiple different doctors. And first of all, every time they've looked at my eyes, they've said my eyes look great. I mean, I do have astigmatism, but I had that well before virtual reality was ever a thing, so I do have to wear prescription glasses for that. I am a bit farsighted, so when I'm reading, sometimes but I also had that well before virtual reality was a thing. But they keep looking at it, and in my eyes, they do the tests. They're doing all of the things, looking really closely for any abnormal things, and they're not noticing any changes that have them at all concerned. But I also ask them, hey, have you heard anything about virtual reality doing long-term damage, short-term damage to our eyes? And they've all said to me that they have not. Now, granted, VR has not been around long enough for us to know for sure, but for now, it seems that the doctors don't feel that it's doing any real long-term damage, all right, or short-term damage. However, there are a couple things you can do to mitigate any eye strain and things like that. I'll mention those very quickly. There's a great thought that you should only play virtual reality for about 20 to 30 minutes at a time, and then just take the headset off. Pause your game, take the headset off for a few minutes, and just look around the room, grab a beverage, whatever, blink a bunch of times, make sure you're blinking, because that's one of the other things in virtual reality. And you may have noticed this yourself if you're a virtual reality aficionado, is that we tend not to blink nearly as much when we're in virtual reality as we do when we're in the real world. Now, I'm not sure why that is, but studies have shown that we tend to blink less. Well, we have to blink for multiple reasons, not the least of which is to keep our eyeballs properly hydrated. So be conscious of that too while you're playing virtual reality. Just make sure you're blinking. You're not staring at stuff for way too long and going kind of crazy. But that also helps when you take the headset off every 30 minutes or so. Another thing you can do is make sure that if you do wear prescription glasses and you're not wearing the glasses in the headset, get yourself some glasses, some inserts, some lens inserts for your headset. They're between $50 and $80 for a pair of them. They'll fit your prescription. You put them right in there, and you don't have to wear your glasses. That is great for eye strain, for mitigating eye strain. So make sure that if you have prescription glasses, either wear your glasses in the headset or better, get those inserts from like VR Rock. That's where mine are from. It's from a company called VR Rock. I love them. They can attach and detach. So if you're putting somebody else in the headset and they don't wear your prescription, which they wouldn't, you can take those right off and pop somebody in the headset, pop them back on when you're done and you're ready to go again with magnets. It's super easy. But there are other companies out there that will do that as well. And also in that same vein, maybe get the blue blockers on that. It's where it blocks the harmful blue rays that can cause more eye strain and can cause it sometimes to be a little harder to sleep. Now, this hasn't been proven 100%. Some people think it might be a placebo effect, that happens to people. But for me, I've noticed a difference. I've had sets of lens inserts that did not have blue blockers, and I have had ones that do. And I do feel like my eyes are not strained as much, and I sleep better at night. It's really strange not having that extra blue light from the lenses coming in. And it doesn't affect the experience that I'm having negatively at all. I don't notice any difference in visual quality. So that's one of the things you can do right there to ensure that it's comfortable for you. But again, what was my question? Oh yeah, what is your biggest concern? So if eye fatigue and eye damages something, so far I have not noticed that to be a problem, and the doctors I've spoken with say they have not either. But hey, let me know, what is your biggest concern? It might be privacy concerns. You know, I'm worried about privacy, especially with mixed reality, where the cameras on, you've got cameras on your headset that are allowing you to do what's called pass-through. Most of you probably already know what that is, right? With the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S especially, you've got full color pass-through where you can see your space. Well, that means the cameras there are recording that, you know, are showing that space. Well, that means, can't that be recorded? Maybe that's one of your biggest concerns. And Meta is saying that they're really working hard to protect our data. But maybe your concern is, hey, I'm not so concerned with you protecting it from others. I'm wondering what you're doing with it, or what you're going to do with it, and are you going to make virtual profiles about me? Hey, those are things that concern me as well. Type in the comments below and let's get this conversation going. If you happen to be a virtual reality developer, oh, please get in on this conversation. Let me know what your feelings are, what you've heard, what you know and don't know that you can share without NDAs, you know? I don't want you getting in trouble, but I'd love to invite you to be part of this conversation as well. All right, I've rambled on long enough here, I think. First of all, I want to take a break here and say, are you enjoying this video at all? If you've watched this far, first of all, congratulations and thank you. But second of all, are you enjoying it? And would you like to see more videos like this that are a little more off the cuff, where we're having some conversations back and forth here? I mean, I can't invite you into my room here. I wish I could, and we would have these conversations together right now. But that's the beauty of YouTube. We can do this through the comments, all right? So if you're enjoying this, please give it a thumbs up right now, and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so already. And your comments, your likes, your shares, your subscriptions, stuff like that really help, because my goal is just to get this out to as many people as possible, to spread the joy that Jolly Julian has for virtual reality to people who love it, who hate it, who've never tried it, and maybe just encourage people to give it a try, give it another try, or to keep going with it and enjoying it as much as you already are. So please take a moment and do all of those things. And lastly, I'm just going to give you one last thing here before we wrap up this video. I thank you for being here, and I thank you for being a positive voice, even if it's in discussion, discourse, and disagreement in the virtual reality space. You have an incredible head on your shoulders. You've got a lot to say. You've got a lot of thoughts. And I want to hear those, again, as long as we just be kind to each other, even as we're disagreeing. That's what I want to leave us on, is I love the virtual reality community so much. I want to do everything I can to help it not to be toxic. Again, disagreement is a great thing, and I love that. It's one of my favorite things. We all have thoughts. I want us to communicate those. But I want to get rid of the toxicity, and I want to do anything I can do to help with that. And so the last thing I want to leave with you is, how can I, Jolly Julian, help to get rid of some of the toxicity that might be out there in our community and in other communities? What can I do to help that? And then lastly, anything you can share about things that you might like to do or are doing to help remove toxicity, any toxicity that's out there. Because for the most part, my experiences in virtual reality with other people and even strangers have been mostly good. But man, you know, you get in some of those, you know, the first-person shooters. I love first-person shooters. I love those. I really do. I'm not very good at them, but I love them. Man, there can be some toxicity in there, right? People throwing around just negativity, throwing around terrible words and slurs and things like that. And I'm all for free speech, but I'm also all for the fact that we are all human beings that can think about what it is that's coming out of our mouth and ask ourselves, why do I want to be toxic? Why am I saying these terrible things? What is it inside of me that's making me feel like a better person when I do that? Because I think we can all be better people by just being better people around the people we're being around. I'm sorry, that's not what this video is about. And if you're thumbs downing this video now because of any of that, I get it. I understand, and that's okay. It's your right to do that. But I want to see virtual reality in our community and just the gaming community in general to be a more positive, less toxic, less misogynistic, less racist, less vulgar place to whatever degree we can help that to happen. And let us just have great discussions, great experiences together. That's it. I'm going to stop. I'm getting off my soapbox. Can you see I'm a little higher now because I'm on my soapbox? I'm getting back down to earth here off my soapbox. And if you're curious, I would say this. The first thing I would recommend is find someone or someplace that you can try virtual reality out before you buy a headset. If you've got a friend that has one, reach out to them. Ask them, hey, could I try this sometime? And I promise you, the community in virtual reality, for the most part, is incredibly powerful and positive, especially when it comes to spreading the word about what virtual reality means. You can get that sense from me. I'm called Jolly Julian for a reason, and virtual reality is a big part of that. It makes me very happy. And one of the things about virtual reality that makes me the most happy is spreading the word and the joy to other people who haven't experienced it. So I'm always offering to have people come over to my house. Hey, come over. I'll put the headset on you. We'll put you into something really simple, something that you will enjoy, something that is up your alley. If you like puzzle games, if you like first-person shooters, if you like exploration, whatever it is, and watching them experience it for the first time. And I think most of your friends, if you've got any friends who have virtual reality, they're going to feel the same way. They would love to have you reach out and say, hey, I would love to try it. And they'll probably say, come on over, let's set up a time. Because we love introducing virtual reality to new people. But that's what I would recommend. Just try it out. Or maybe there's a store in your town that you can go try it. Even if it's an Apple store and you try out Apple Vision Pro for the first time, which, I wouldn't recommend buying that as your first VR, virtual reality, mixed reality headset, spatial computing headset, whatever they want to call it, right? Because right now we have these incredible headsets from Meta, and I am not a Meta shill, okay? I don't love everything about Facebook, Meta, and all of that, but I'm not going to lie here and tell you that I'm not blown away by what Meta has done with their Quest line of headsets, making them as affordable as they are with the features that they have. It is extraordinary that you can get an incredible VR headset that is standalone, that you don't need a computer or anything else used, that you can literally take it out of the box, sign up on the app to use it, and boom, pop it on your head and you're in virtual reality, and you can do that for $300. That's insane and incredible. Okay, so, despite the things that I would like to see Meta change as they go forward, what they are doing for the virtual reality industry, I think as a whole, is a very good thing. But before you reach out and go ahead and buy one, I would maybe reach out and see if you've got a friend that will let you try one. However, if you want to go ahead and buy one, get one on Amazon. Get a Quest 3S for $300. Try it out, and if you don't like it, you can return it. Amazon's got a great return policy, and if you don't love it, return it, and then you get your $300 back. There's really no excuse right now, unless you simply cannot possibly afford $300, to not try virtual reality out. I appreciate you. I appreciate this community. And until next time, I'm Jolly Julian. I'm going to go do some VR right now, because all this talk about it, it's like when you're with friends and they talk about pizza, then all you want is pizza, right? I want some pizza right now, and pizza for me is virtual reality. I'm going to go get myself a slice of pepperoni VR. Catch you on the next video.